Hello and welcome back to Jacqueline Marie's Art. This is Fornication Nightmares Women's Edition Series 2. I just wanted to ask you guys if you could please like, subscribe, share if you like the content and leave your comments because I'm always interested to see, what you guys have to say. I'm very interested in your feedback, I should say. All right, so let's get into this. This story is about a young lady that was excuse me, dating a young man, and they met, and it was like they got together relatively quickly. They within a really short span, they started, the usual thing, how relationships progress by, having sex, jumping into bed together. She didn't take much time to get to know him, but from the way things progressed, it seems like this guy was just a player and a user. He was not really interested in this young lady. He was just interested in, what she could get, what he could get out of her. So this is actually a pretty short one, but the points are very important. So what happened was, they were sleeping together. She was doing everything for him, but they were not, in his mind, they were not in a committed relationship. That was just like a friend of his. So I really believe if you have somebody that you are sleeping with, you have a sexual relationship with, it is not just your friend. All right. I know people, or a lot of guys, like to categorize sexual relationships is just friends. No, why it's not just friends? Because once you enter into a sexual relationships, a different set of emotions are opened up, or come alive, meaning the emotions that are attached to sex. You cannot separate the emotional side. It's a package that comes together. And I know people constantly try to justify, it's just a sex thing. And a lot of women, because they're in this kind of relationship and they know that the man don't want them, so they start lying to themselves and they say, oh, I'm not trying to be the one, I'm not trying to, be the main woman, or they already know that they have no chance with this guy, but they're still giving up their bodies, still breaking their own hearts, still destroying their own souls. So while they were dating, relatively quick, of course, he needed a car, and I think yeah, he convinced her to put the payments in her name. So she did, and he something happened. I think he crashed a car or something where the payments were not really, it wasn't being taken care of. And this is very, delicate situation because it could damage her credit. So even though he has the car, she gave it to him, she did it for him. She is responsible, for anything that goes wrong with the car because it's in her name. So if something happens, they're not going to look for the guy. They're going to look for the person, obviously, that signed all the paperwork, because according to the car people, the car belongs to you, the person who signed on the dotted line. They don't know anything about the guy. They don't care. They just care about the person that took responsibility for, all the legal issues, the monthly payments, and, the insurance and all that stuff. So he didn't plan to, fix the car. Um, he wasn't gonna take care of whatever was wrong with the car. So she took him to court. And the judge heard the case and she was like, okay, since the car was in her name, the judge's hands were tied. So the judge just the guy won the case where she had to pay, and she was devastated. The judge was just looking at her like, this girl is crazy. How could she let this guy trap her into this, situation? So the guy at the end of the case, I'm like wrapping this up. At the end of the case, the guy was like pointing and laughing at her, like making a complete fool of her. He was so cold-hearted. Like, you could tell he cared absolutely nothing about this young lady. He was like pointing one hand to his mouth, giggling, laughing, and pointing at her, like completely ridiculing her in her face, and she just felt, she didn't even respond. She just felt like, I guess at the time, just worthless and defeated. So unfortunately, like I said, um having sex, you know, with people we are not married to, or just fornicating, having sex out of marriage, having wrong sex, illicit sex, can cloud one's judgment. It will cloud your judgments, ladies. I really believe that this is how fornication work with the sexes. It turns men selfish, cold, and dark, and it make women really stupid. It makes them, to give men more than the man gives them. They will do all things like this for the guy. It makes women the givers and it makes men the takers. That's what I meant to say. This is how fornication works. It turns women into the givers and it turns men into the takers. So when fornication is constantly committed, the roles get reversed. And the men take the women's role and the women end up taking the men's role. You understand? Not always, but this is how it progresses for a lot of ladies. So the woman is in the giving role where she should be in the receiving role because that's how nature designed it. Or I should say, that's how God designed it for her to be in the receiving role and the man in the giving role. Not that women never give, in marriages. I'm just saying, since the man is supposed to be the provider and the protector, he's in the masculine role, which is the giving role. But since men are being given the thing that would turn them into providers and protectors in a marriage, it's being given to them prematurely, way before a marriage. So they abandon that role completely with a lot of women, where the women, they have this term on the streets, it's called pick me, where the women are just, groveling a lot and hoping that men will, choose them. So, or pick them because they're desperate. They know they could lose this man any minute, and since they have slept with the guy, they want to hold on to the guy because they've tied their souls to the guy. So what I'm really saying is, ladies, whenever you open your legs, you open your heart, okay? It is not, you cannot separate the two. I know people want to, but it does not work like that, okay? When you open your legs, you open your heart. I probably will always say this on these videos because I need to remind you guys, there is a huge consequence that comes with opening your legs to a man you are not married to. You're setting yourself up for extreme heartache. This is all that should flash into your mind when you go, to do that act. Oh, he's so hot, I just want to sleep with Jeffrey or whoever is an imaginary person. This should flash into your head before you even take off your clothes when you walk into that room or wherever you guys are. Oh my gosh. Am I going to turn into a pick me and I'm going to turn into a groveler? Is it going to be role reversal where I end up being the giver and Jeffrey becomes the taker? Will I be constantly chasing after Jeffrey? Will I lose my power? So you have to think about these things, yeah, you cannot separate them. I know people want to. When you open your legs, you open your heart. So you have to guard your heart. How do you do that? Don't open your legs because your heart will go with that. Your mind, will, emotions, which is your soul, this is all attached to your sex, with your spirit. Everything is attached. All of the strong, powerful emotions are attached to that, and you cannot separate them. It doesn't work like that. God put them in one package all together where they cohabitate together, and they're mostly released during sex, and after you slept with these people, that's when the misery starts and your life starts to unravel and you start to do really stupid things like giving men cars, like letting men live in your house, taking care of men financially, giving a man more than he gives you, chasing after men, hoping the man will pick you. You understand? You relegate yourself to like a begging role. And you don't want to do that. You exchange your power pretty much. And in this day and age, the way how the dating scene is so rife with men that do not want to do anything for women because of the easy sex, and you would want to think twice before you go down that road because it's not leading anywhere good. And also, like I said, just wrap this up. When men are involved in fornication, it makes them cold and dark, and it makes them the takers. And when you guys are involved, it make you guys the givers, and you guys give so much and you don't get anything in return. You just are left with a broken heart and a wounded soul, and you don't want to keep doing that to yourself. And these broken hearts and wounded souls come from a lot of the time more than one man, so this is all compounded, and someday you could get married, and unfortunately this will follow you into your marriage. You'll be fractured, and you will not be able to have a proper relationship with your husband. You understand? Depending on how many people the both of you have slept with before you came together, all these spirits from these other people will fight you all in your marriage. And you probably will be sleeping together too before you get married. So there you go. It's compounded. So you want to quit this stuff. You don't want to sleep with any man before you get married. Even the guy you're going to marry, you're not supposed to sleep with that guy. This beautiful gift is supposed to be had on the wedding night. You know, we've already been conditioned to do this the wrong way. You're going to have to start conditioning yourselves to do it the right way, because there's good things waiting for you when you do it the right way. All right. Good things are hard to get, and good things take time. Good things don't come easy, and they take time. You have to remember that you have a good thing. You are a good thing, but you could turn into a bad thing if you keep giving yourself away, because your spirit could get darkened by all the emotional trauma that you're heaping up on yourselves with these men. All right. And it could go so bad that you could lose your life early before your time behind it. All right. So I'm going to do more videos on this too in this Fornication Nightmare series. And the ones I'm going to also drop, the ones from men in here too, because it's affecting both genders. This is a gender neutral spirit that it destroys men and women alike. And unfortunately, the children that come into the mix of this sort of thing. All right, so that's all I have to say for this one. So, please like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments. I really appreciate it when you guys comment. Okay, take care. All right, bye.